Hi there, I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent training. In this video, we'll look at words that have the combination of w and oo, like swoop, whoop, wound, swooned, and then we'll also look at wound because it has the same spelling as wound. So this can be a challenging combination for some people, doing the w sound and the oo sound. Basically, you have lip rounding for both. So I recommend starting with just oo and then closing the lips to add the woo, the w sound. So trying oo, woo. And finally, if you're saying a word like swoop, you have to start with the s sound and then move into that combination of w and oo. So in swoop, letters OO say oo, which is the most typical pronunciation for oo, although the letters OO can also say the sound, like in would or could, so we'll talk about that in a moment as well. Again, when I'm saying swoop, I really just want to make sure that my w sound doesn't drop and that my oo stays tightly pursed and rounded. Woo, swoo, swoop, swoop. It can help to look in the mirror and to practice with saying oo sounds and w sounds separately. Typically, languages that have difficulty with the w and the v sounds may find a challenge doing words that have the w sound, the w, and the oo together. So we have the word swoop, like something swooped in. We also have the word whoop or whoops. Whoop is a word that has a couple of different correct pronunciations. So some people will pronounce it with the oo, like the same as in swoop, whoop. It's just basically the same word, even though it's spelled with WH, it just has the w sound. But people will also pronounce this as whoop, or we hear that in words like whoopsie or whoops. And that is the vowel, which I call the good book vowel. So letters OO do sometimes say the sound, which is lax, rather than the oo sound, which is tense. I have a number of videos talking about letters OO and these two vowel sounds, giving you the help for words that have oo versus words that have One way to think of it is you could think about the word, if you're trying to use the vowel instead of the oo vowel, think about the word would or could, push or pull, and think about that vowel as being spelled with OU or with U if that's helpful for you. So for example, I would whoop, don't whoop or push. Just having another word with that same vowel to match and to think of a way to think of that, how that's spelled. Often when we see OO, we think about that tense oo, and it's harder for us to use that vowel. You can get more help with that in detail in our videos about the sound and in our Sounds of English course, where I walk you through spelling, vowel sounds, and all of the details to help you have a solid foundation for all of the Sounds of English. That's our Sounds of English course, and you can find it on our website, speechmodification.com. Okay, so we have swoop and whoop or whoop. And then we have the word wound, the noun. So he had a wound. It can also be a verb, to wound someone, to be wounded. So different meanings. So for wound, this is the one that can be a noun or a verb. He was wounded in battle. It left a deep wound, noun or verb. We also have wound, like he wound the string, he wound the clock. That can only be a verb. So this one is also a noun and also a verb. So for wound, we again have our w and oo combination, now followed by the n, and the d sound. I've just rewritten it for you here with OO, because again, now we have a new spelling of the oo sound, which is the OU. That's a much less common spelling for oo, but we do use it in, for example, the word you still has that oo sound. So in the dictionary, you'll see it, the oo sound, just as letter U, and that's a good way to think of it. Or you can visualize it with OO so that you can think about how swoop and wound have the same sounds. We also have the word swooned or swoon. I wrote it here because I want you to think about wound and swooned having the same sounds so that that spelling helps you. Great. And then when we go to wound, like wound, he wound the clock, or he was very wound up, we have the ow diphthong for letters OU. So again, spelling and sounds, there's no one-to-one correspondence in English. OU can say ow, it can say ooh, it can say ah. Unfortunately, it can say ugh. So unfortunately, the combination of letters is not really going to help you when it comes to understanding the spelling or understanding the sounds in the word. We do have spelling patterns, and you can learn those patterns. They will help you for a lot of words, but then we'll just have these exceptions where it's really helpful to have a way to represent the sounds so that you can be thinking about ooh versus ow in these two words, for example. So in wound, I rewrote that with OW, like we have in now, or cloud. You can also think about it as AU, if that helps you. But I tend to think of, we build on a natural word we already know, like wow. So we just want to have the nd sound after wow. Wow, wound. Once you can say swoop, whoop, wound, swooned, wound by themselves, do try practicing them in some short phrases just so they come smoothly and naturally to you. You may find that that combination of the w and oo is difficult, so you may need to work on just repeating these words and these combinations of sounds for a while, but eventually you should be able to master those, and then you want to go ahead and start using them in short sentences and phrases so that when you go to speak, you can use them correctly and naturally with that new correct pronunciation. So, for example, he's going to swoop in and fix everything. She gave a big whoop when she was excited about succeeding. I hope that you take good care of that wound so it heals properly. Please don't get so wound up. And he swooned over the new information. Okay, thanks so much for this request. If you have a word, a phrase, a sound combination that you're finding challenging, that you'd like to have a little more help and detail for, do feel free to leave that in the comments, and I can add it to my list to cover in a future class. You can also attend our Saturday live question and answer class, where you can type your questions in the chat and I answer them for you live. In those classes, we often talk about pronunciation, intonation, fluent speaking, lots of different topics to help you improve overall in your English. So I hope you can join me on Saturday for that class. I will also be back on Friday with a Fluency Friday class, and on Sunday we have our special Sundays. So you can see what's coming up on the channel page. Go to our community page to see upcoming videos and sneak previews, and to interact with others in quizzes, polls, etc. Thanks so much for watching this video. For your comments, your likes, sharing, all of those things really help the channel to grow, and I truly appreciate your support. I'm looking forward to seeing you next time. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound like a native speaker, you can do it. speechmodification.com. Bye everyone. Hope to see you again soon.